Welcome to Busch Gardens, Tampa, in Tampa, Florida. The blue and yellow coaster in front of us is Montu. Next to on the left is Cobra's Curse, and we will get to those rides later on. What we're doing for this video and videos to come is helping anyone in need who may find this park's layout still confusing and if you're planning a trip down here, it's gonna be your first time. Hopefully this video will help you find a way around a lot easier. This park, for the most part, is a full circle, but there are some pathways that can be pretty tricky to find if you're not familiar with the park's layout, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of where everything is. Where we are right now is the park's preferred parking lot, and if you're wondering where the general lot is, it is on the other side of the street. This park's parking lot is separated by McKinley Drive, and you basically have two ways to get to the front entrance. One of those is you can take the tram, which takes you back and forth from the general lot to the entrance and back. If you do not want to take the tram, you will have to walk, which can take you roughly 20 minutes to get to the entrance. So beware of that if you decide to walk. This park, as you will see, will have a general African themed. You'll have eight different sections throughout the park themed to different parts of Africa, such as Morocco, Egypt, and Congo. In addition to all the rides in the park, this park has a bunch of animals. So basically, it makes this park half amusement park and half zoo. And it is, in my opinion, a great park for the families. There are plenty of things to do throughout the park for families. But if you have ones in the family that want to go off and do the rides, others want to go off and see the animals, you can do that, which is pretty cool. If you are in the preferred lot, just be aware that the tram will be traveling back and forth between the two stations. So if you're going to have to cross the road like we just did a little bit ago, just be aware of the tram going back and forth before crossing that road. I was deciding whether or not I wanted to speed this walk up or keep it in real time, but I thought I would keep it in real time just so you guys get sort of an idea of how long it takes to walk up to the entrance using this pathway. This pathway we're walking on is part of the pathway you would use to get to the front entrance if you do not take the tram. And there on the left is the other tram station, so that's where the tram would drop you off if you're coming from the general lot. Basically drops you off right in front. There is this additional drop-off area, I assume, that they use if the park gets very busy. They also have a separate entrance on the right, which, again, I assume they use if it's really busy, but I have not seen them use that entrance since I've been coming to this park, so I don't know when they will use that entrance again, if they do ever use it again. So now we got into the front entrance. You have some self-ticketing service or kiosks on the right, and there's some more across the midway on the left. And when you get to entrance, you'll be greeted with this statue of a lion with the Busch Gardens logo in front of it. It's a really nice touch. And you have your ticket windows. You have a building on the right and a building on the left. If you already have your tickets, you can proceed forward into the park. Me being an annual pass holder, I can proceed forward, so let's go ahead and do that. Something I'll point out here, if you want to check your kids' heights, so this is for families if you want to check your kids' heights before you get into the park just to see what rides they'll be able to do, the park has these signs either on the left or right, and each of the rides are under their respective height requirement. So you'll see right here all the rides, Shikra, Kumba, Montu are all 54 inches, Iron Gwazi, Serengeti Flyer, Cheetah Hunt are 48 inches. So if you want to check your kid's height there, you can do that. Alright, let's head into the park, shall we? Upon first entry, on the left you'll have the park exit. To the right of that will be guest relations, and next to guest relations on the right is a set of bathrooms. On the right, you'll have the Emporium. There's guest relations. There's the Emporium. Sells Busch Gardens branded merchandise such as shirts, hats, bags. Straight ahead, you'll have a snack stand. You only have one way to go from here, and that's to go to the right. And from there, you'll have a few options where you want to go. You can either go left or right. You'll notice in a little bit too, there'll be a pathway that leads straight ahead. That pathway basically just takes you up into the Zagora Cafe, which is the first eatery of the park you'll encounter, which serves typical offerings such as burgers and chicken tenders. But that'll essentially take you the same way whether you go left or right. There's really no straightforward way that way takes you. So once again, you can go left or you can go right. That massive structure you see above the Zagora Cafe is the arguably signature attraction of Busch Gardens, which is Iron Gwazi. The park's massive roller coaster by Rocky Mountain Construction, and we'll get to that ride later on in this video. For this video, we're going to head to the right. Right next to us on the right is the area where you can pick up your on-ride photos. And throughout the park, you'll just notice all this beautiful landscaping. That's the one thing these parks are known for, is just being pleasing to the eye. Everything looks nice. There are the stairs leading up into the Zagora Cafe. That's another way. To the right of the stairs on top, there's a little alleyway, and there are another set of bathrooms down that alleyway. For those who can't do the stairs, there is a few ramps you can use. One of those ramps is straight ahead. It's on the other side of those bushes you see there in the distance. I apologize in advance if you hear any talking throughout this video other than this voiceover. I was kind of rehearsing what I would say throughout this video, so if you do hear talking, that was probably me whispering to myself in the video. Like I mentioned, outside the park there are a bunch of animals, and the first exhibit you will encounter is here on the left. This is the alligator exhibit, which is pretty neat. If you haven't seen alligators before, they have a nice handful of alligators in this exhibit right here. So if you want to see some alligators, that's where you can do so. This big building on the right is the Moroccan Palace, where you see some shows. At that time of the recording, they were not having any shows going on, but they do have a show coming up. I don't know when it's going to be taking place, but that is the Moroccan Palace, where you can see some shows. If you want to see some gorillas, to the right of the alligator exhibit, there is a pathway to take you to the gorilla encounter. There's the pathway right there. So you want to see some gorillas, you just go down that way. From here, we'll have a choice to go left or right. That big green and yellow structure you see in front of us is Cheetah Hunt. The park's very family-friendly, intimate, multi-launch coaster. We'll get to that a little later on. But yeah, you can either go left or right here. If you go left, it'll take you to the Nairobi section, which is where you can board onto the park's train ride, the Serengeti Express, which takes you out into the Serengeti Plain, which is the one thing this park is really known for. They have a massive area devoted to animals, which is the Serengeti Plain. You can see giraffes, you can see zebras, rhinos, and a whole bunch of other animals. We're going to continue to the right here. Go underneath this archway. And naturally right across from Cheetah Hunt is a cheetah exhibit. And throughout this park, if you're lucky enough, you'll be able to come across one of these exhibits when the keepers are out and they are sharing facts with the animals, doing tricks with them, feeding them. And that's a really nice touch. Unfortunately, at the time of this video, there were no cheetahs out for us to see, but that is where you can see some cheetahs. And if you're lucky enough, like I said, you can capture one of the video showings that they have, where the keepers come out and they basically talk about the animals, speak facts about them and stuff like that, which is cool. There is the Cheetah Hunt station and queue. For my enthusiasts out there looking for the credits, I would recommend hitting this ride up early, as this is very popular with the families. So it does get a long line really quickly. Even on a slower day, you can be looking at a 30 to 40-minute wait. So I would definitely recommend hitting this ride as early as possible. There's more Cheetah Hunt. It's definitely one of the longer rides in the park. It's well over 4,000 feet of track, and it goes way out. We'll see more of that ride later on. So we have another split off. You'll have a lot of these throughout the park. You didn't go left. If you go left, you'll have the Cheetah Hunt entrance, and you'll have the entrance to the Sky Ride. But we will get to those later, just in a little bit. We're going to go to the right. This is one of those pathways I was talking about earlier that could be a little tricky to find. If you're unfamiliar with the park's layout, you can definitely miss this area, and you'll be missing out on two of the attractions. So we will take you down this way, and we will show you this pathway. This will lead you into the Egypt section of the park. And there are basically just two rides down here, and they are actually the rides we saw at the beginning of this video, which is Cobra's Curse and Montu. Cobra's Curse is another family-friendly ride by Mach Rides, and it is also another ride that gets a very long line very quickly. So once again, for my coaster enthusiasts out there that are looking for the coaster credits, I would definitely recommend hitting both Cheetah Hunt and Cobra's Curse as early as possible, so you don't miss out on those rides. They are pretty unique rides, so I do definitely recommend checking those out. Cobra's Curse has that iconic statue of a cobra that you're looking straight ahead at when you are riding. You go up that elevator lift hill, you see that massive structure there. Basically it takes you up, and you're staring right into basically the mouth and the eyes of the cobra statue. I think talks to you while you're on the ride. There's the entrance to Cobra's Curse, and as you can see, even though this was filmed on a Friday, so a little bit busier, but it does have a 40-minute wait at the time of this recording. So again, if you are someone looking to ride that, definitely ride it as early as possible. Now, straight ahead, you have this massive wall, which is encompassing the other ride in this park, in this section, which is Montu. It's that big old B&M inverted looping coaster, that big yellow and blue structure. To the left of this wall in front, on the side that we are on, there'll be no set of bathrooms. If you turn to the left right here, there'll be a set of bathrooms. On the right, it's an arcade and Montu's exit. But I'll take you through this wall and I'll show you what's back here. It's basically just the ride's entrance. Essentially what's back here. There goes Montu. Definitely a highlight of this park. I would definitely recommend checking this ride out. It is a very exciting ride. And again, basically all you have back here is the ride itself and the ride entrance. But you do have a couple ways of getting out of here. I will show you one of those in just a little bit. There's the entrance to Montu. Now, circle back around here. You can either go right, and that will take you down this little hidden pathway. This essentially will take you into the Edge of Africa section, which is where you'll see again more animals. But I thought for this video, I'll go left and we will circle back to where we were by Cheetah Hunt, and I can show you the entrance for Cheetah Hunt as well as the Sky Ride and also Serengeti Overlook, which is another massive eatery in the park. We'll get to those in just a little bit. And through the power of editing, I will save you the time of walking all the way back. Alright, there we go. If you were to go left, that would take us back to where we just came, to Morocco and by the alligator exhibit, so we're not going to go that way. Instead, we're going to go to the right. On the left, you'll have the Cheetah Hunt gift shop, which is also the exit to Cheetah Hunt. To the right of that is the Cheetah Hunt entrance. So there's those rides. There's that ride right there. And next to Cheetah Hunt's entrance is the entrance to the Sky Ride. So in addition to having a train, this park also has a Sky Ride. This is the Serengeti Overlook. serves stuff like pizza and meatball sandwiches, chicken parmesan sandwiches, so a little bit better than your typical offerings. There's the Skyride entrance there on the left. Keep in mind that at the time of this video and as of this year, the Skyride is an upcharge of $5 for those who are not annual pass holders. It is not a round trip. You do have to get off. So if you take this Skyride from this section, it would take you over to Stanleyville. And if you wanted to come back to this section, you would have to basically exit the Stanleyville station, go back around, and come back this way. So again, if you are someone who is not a pass holder, it is unfortunately a $5 upcharge. So that'd be $10 you would have to fork over if you wanted to take it from Cheetah Hunt Station and back. The section we're entering in now is known as the Edge of Africa, and basically all this pathway is, honestly, it makes you kind of forget that you're in an amusement park, but basically just a whole bunch of animals are down here, such as hippos. There's a crocodile exhibit, and there's also an area we can see hyenas and lions, and we just take this pathway here. Quickly mention, this park does have a pretty strict loose article policy. Most rides do require you to have a locker. Fortunately, they do offer transferable lockers, so instead of paying for an individual locker each time, which is $3, which can start to add up if you are continuously buying those, they do have a transferable locker, which is you pay the one price at $10, and you can move your locker around to the different locker locations, as most of the rides here do require you to have lockers. So I thought I'd touch on that while we had time. Here's the hippo exhibit. You see right there, a couple of hippos there in the back. Pretty cool. Next to the hippo exhibit will be the area where you can see a crocodile. It's just one lone crocodile that sits in there. It's a Nile crocodile, and the dude is huge. Definitely not an animal you want to mess with. Let's see if you can see him right here. I think he is. Yep, he's right there in the water. There he is. Dude is massive. Again, definitely not an animal you want to mess with. And something that's kind of cool, they have these signs, like you saw with the cheetah exhibit, and you have one here for the Nile crocodile. These are like facts and like their habitat and the diet, stuff like that. Something cool that they added, which is nice. Again, this park is very good for the families. While you have if you have thrill seekers who want to go off and do the rides, and others who want to go see the animals, you can go off and do that. And stuff like the sky ride and train are definitely great ways for families to do stuff together, which is always nice. And we'll just continue along this pathway. Again, it's just one long pathway that will eventually take you into the Nairobi section. But again, this section of the park is kind of interesting. It makes you kind of forget that you're in an amusement park. Again, I apologize if you hear any speaking through this video. It's me whispering to myself as I was rehearsing what I was going to say. So if you hear, again, any talking, that's why. So again, you have another split off left or right. If you actually were to go to the right, that would circle you back to Montu. That section I mentioned earlier is what is the pathway that would take you here. So if you were to take that pathway on the right, it will lead you back over to Montu. So instead of going by Cheetah Hunt and then turning left, going to Montu, you can just take that pathway and it takes you right back to either Cobra Skirts or Montu. So you can take that way on the right. But we're going to go to the left and continue the walkthrough. There you can see one of the gondolas for the sky ride going through. And there is more Cheetah Hunt track. So this gives you an idea of just how long the ride is. Again, it's about 4,500 feet of track. It is definitely the longest ride of Busch Gardens. And again, a very family-friendly ride. It does have one inversion. So I wouldn't be surprised that this is many kids' first ride going upside down. There goes Cheetah Hunt. And there's this thing on the left. I don't know what they were thinking about this, but there's just this support that's just connected to nothing. You see the support on the right, that's connected to the track, but then there's just that sitting there. I don't know what the thought process was behind that, but it's just kind of funny that it just sits there, not attached to anything. I don't know, that was just like a way to mess with like guests' minds. They see it like, oh my gosh, the support's not connected to anything. But yeah, it just sits there. I don't know why. There is the sky ride, and actually I can see Cheetah Hunt coming, so we can pause here for a moment and we can watch it go through its paces a little bit. Goes through that awesome structure, which looks like a tree. There it comes. There it drops down. Nice. Alright, let's keep going. This pathway on the right is where you would board onto the safari trucks, which take you onto Serengeti Plain. Basically takes you on the safari tours. That is an upcharge thing that you can add on to your visit. But basically, you load onto these trucks, then they get taken out into the Serengeti Plain, and you can feed some of the animals, which is awesome. You do have to make an online reservation, and they do seem to be pretty strict with it. So if you do make a time for, say, let's say 11:30, do try and be there, right around 11:30. Otherwise, you could miss it, and then it'll be a waste of money. And it looks like we will have to pause briefly as the Serengeti Express wants to delay things. So we will pick this back up once the Serengeti Express has passed. Alright, let's go. On the left is the pathway you would take to go back to the Morocco area. And to enter the Serengeti Express, it's on the other side of where we're at. So to get onto the Serengeti Express, you would go around that station, and the entrance is on the other side. There is also a penguin exhibit on the other side as well. There's another snack stand, there's another bathroom, and this building on the right, the Animal Interactions and Tours, this is where you would check in for the safari tours. Again, it is an upcharge, and that's where, again, you get taken out onto the trucks, and you can feed the animals out there, and they'll show you, the whole plane, and talk to you about the animals and stuff. On the left is a little Dippin' Dots stand, and there's plenty of those around. So if you're a fan of Dippin' Dots, this place is good for you. Will be fun for you, as there are plenty of Dippin' Dots stands around. There's more of the Sky Ride and Cheetah Hunt. There's the one version I was talking about. So it's not, it's pretty far back here. So it's the one version on the ride. But it's a very tame ride, like I mentioned. It's not intense at all. But yeah, there's more Cheetah Hunts. And the only other ride in this section is actually the newest ride. They just opened last year. It is their massive SNS Scream and Swing Serengeti Flyer. And to get to that ride, you just go down that pathway on the right. They do have the sign right here pointing you into the direction of Serengeti Flyer. You go down that pathway and just turn left. And once you turn left, the entrance to the ride will be right in front of you. So there's Serengeti Flyer. We'll see that in a little bit. Right next to the entrance to Serengeti Flyer is the elephant exhibit. And there is Serengeti Flyer right there, that big structure there. Big purple structure. If you're not familiar with those kinds of rides, the SNS Scream and Swings are basically, you have those two giant arms. They swing back and forth just like a big old pendulum. Very fun ride. Very good ride. I'm glad it's here because it does complement the other thrill ride in the park, which is Falcon's Fury, and we will get to that later on. On the left is the Animal Care Center, which is where they take care of the animals, and you can actually see them taking care of the animals just going through those doors. A bit further ahead on the right is yet another animal interactive spot where you can feed the elephants. But unfortunately, it looks like at the time of this recording, it was not being used. So unfortunately, couldn't show you that. Now, we are heading into the Pantopia section, which is probably one of the bigger areas of the park, and they do have a handful of attractions here. One of those I mentioned is Falcon's Fury, which is a massive 330-foot drop tower, which has its very own unique gimmick. If you're unfamiliar with this ride, basically you'll start approaching the top of the tower, and the thing tilts you, so now you're facing the ground. So at 330 feet in the air, you are forced to look at the ground, which if you're someone that's not a fan of drop towers to begin with, or not a fan of heights, that ride is probably not going to be for you. It is a very unique and interesting drop tower. One of my favorites in the park for sure, and definitely again another highlight that I would recommend checking out at least once. You gotta do it at least once if you come to Busch Gardens, Tampa. Unfortunately, it looks like in the time of this recording, the ride is down. So I cannot unfortunately show you what the ride does, but I will show you what the vehicles look like. On the left, across from Falcon's Fury, is something they just added as well, which is one of my favorite eateries. It's Rita's. Serves Italian ice, and one of my favorite items in the park, which is gelati. Basically, it's a layered Italian ice and soft serve. There's Falcon's Fury. You can just get a scale, get an idea of how tall it is. You can see how the vehicles look. They basically, they swing out. You have the ability to swing in and out. Again, the thing tilts you, so you're facing the ground. It is a very intense ride if you're not familiar with it. There's the entrance to Falcon's Fury. There's the Ritas I was talking about. Again, a very good addition to the park. I am a very big fan of Ritas. Now, this is the newest attraction that they are adding. You see the big construction walls. This is the new for 2024 roller coaster, Phoenix Rising. Unlike Montu, this will be a B&M family inverted coaster. And, well, it's not very common because this manufacturer, Balgoda Mabillard or B&M, they're mostly known for doing big old thrill rides like Montu and then Kumba and Chica, which you'll see later on. But they added this family invert, which is very interesting. It's going to be only about 80 feet tall. You see right there coming 2024. And yeah, it's got a 42-inch high requirement, so very low high requirement, just like Cobra's Curse. And yeah, I can't wait for it. It's going to be really exciting to have another roller coaster in this park. There is, again, another look at Falcon's Fury. If you were to go straight ahead, right there, we'll circle you around to the entrance to the carousel. But I want to take you this pathway between Falcon's Fury and Twisted Tales, which is an area where a restaurant that serves pretzels. If we were to go left, that would circle you back to where we were, and that will also take you to the entrance to Scorpion and Dragonfire, which is the biggest eatery of the park. So it's essentially just an indoor food court, and there is also a stage in there, which you can see a show, so you can grab some food and see a show in there. It's a really big facility, very cool facility. There is the entrance to the carousel. On the left, you just have some games, and I don't really know what else is back there. There's not really much else here on the left. Just a bunch of games. I hope they will eventually remove this stuff and they can be used for something else, but that's a topic for another video. And once again, we have a split off to go left or right. If we go right, that's basically nothing. It's a dead end. But on the right, I'll show you in just a little bit. That is where the entrance, right there. That's the entrance to Phoenix Rising. That's where the entrance will be. That big old turnaround right there. That section of track. The entrance will be right below it. You can see the station building there straight ahead. That is where the entrance is going to be going. So you'll enter that ride through there, which is cool. In front of us is the Pantopia Theater. And you can see another some more shows in there. And there's how you would get into the Pantopia Theater. They do have a show right there playing as well. On the left is a little pizza stand that I assume used to be in Pantopia, because Pantopia used the Dragonfire Grill. It used to be inside the Dragonfire Grill, but they removed it, and I assume that is the pizza stand that sits there now. Used to be an area that serves hot dogs, but they removed that. Now, we're going to head up this ramp and take you into the Congo section of the park, which has one of the other signature rides here. It is going to be Kumba, which is, if you've been to Universal Orlando, it is very similar to the Incredible Hulk coaster at Islands of Adventure. It is a B&M sit-down coaster, so unlike rides like Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando that don't have a floor, this one does have a floor. It's just a traditional, B&M looping coaster. 7 inversions. It did just celebrate its 30th birthday last year. So it is a fairly old ride. And you have this sign right here pointing you Kumba. I'm glad that sign's here, because if you're unfamiliar with this park's layout and you didn't know where Kumba was, it could be very easy to miss, because it is tucked way off the main pathway, as you'll see in a little bit. There is the building for the bumper cars. There's the entrance to the bumper cars right there on the left. Next to the bumper cars is yet another set of bathrooms, which is something I appreciate about this park, is that there's really no shortage of bathrooms. It seems like there's a bathroom in just about every section you go to, which is very convenient if you're someone who needs to do their business. And to get to Kumba, you basically just have to cross this bridge. You have, again, another Kumba sign. And you just cross this bridge, and basically that's all that's back here is the ride entrance and exit and the photo booth. There you can either use this ramp that'll be straight ahead, so for those who can't do the stairs otherwise, you can use this ramp and that'll get you up to the ride. There's the ramp you would use if you can't use the stairs. High five. Nice. There's the stairs. If you can do the stairs, you can do the stairs there. Again, otherwise you can use the ramp. There's Kumba's entrance. Again, it's tucked really far off the main pathway, so I'm really glad that they've added some signs that help people point to where the ride is. There's a look at the lockers. Again, this park does have a very strict loose article policy. Most rides here do require you to have lockers. Those rides are going to be Iron Gwazi, Shikra, Tigris, Kumba, Scorpion, Cheetah Hunt, and Montu. And again, that park does offer those transferable lockers, which can save you a lot of money. Because if you're paying $3 every single time for a locker, it will start to add up, and it can get pretty expensive just by lockers alone. Now, we are going to go down this pathway, which takes you to the other ride in this Congo area, and that is the cleverly named Congo River Rapids. That park's River Raft ride, which is one of the rides I have not done yet, so I can't say how wet it gets you. But it does seem like it does get you pretty wet, and for the hot Florida summers, I'm sure that feels amazing. There's the rapids, and the entrance to the Congo River Rapids is just straight ahead. Looks like there are some lockers here, so Congo River Rapids looks like they require lockers as well, which I was not familiar with. There is the entrance to Congo River Rapids, and now to get out of this section, we have to go across this bridge. So this isn't entirely a dead end, which is nice, but it's basically just the two rides, Kumba and Congo River Rapids, and then to get out of this section, you have to go back across one of these two bridges. There you can see what the rapids looks like. And you got Kumba towering above you. There's the Cobra Roll of Kumba. Like another staple in this park that I would definitely recommend checking out. Kumba is a very good ride. It is a little bit rough at some points. It does cause a little bit of headbanging. But if you look past that, it is a very solid attraction here at Busch Gardens. Yeah, definitely worth checking out while you're at the park. Now, when we get off of this bridge, we'll have another option to go left or right. If we were to go left, it would take us back to where we came before we went to Kumba. It would take you back into Pantopia. So we're not going to go that way. We're going to continue going to the right. Straight ahead of you will be the Tiger Trail. As you would expect, that is an area where you can see tigers. It's basically one giant giant circle that you can see tigers. That's just basically that area straight ahead. You go straight ahead and you can see the tigers that way.
So, yeah, another cool vantage point.
Again, I apologize for the speaking that you hear in the video. That's not this voiceover. Again, I was just kind of rehearsing what I would say at these points in time. So I do apologize if you hear the speaking in the video. There's a Chick-fil-A, for those who want some chicken. I'm going to take you into here, because this is another kind of cool vantage point you can get of the tigers. Let's see if we can see any of them. There's a look at the exhibit. Let's go around here and see. Oh, would you look at that? There's a big cat right down below there. Looks like he's just walking back and forth, wants to go inside. Maybe he's hungry. Let's just go right back out here. And excuse me, fellas.
Sorry.
Okay. Now, this is the Jungala section. And you see straight ahead, it's just a whole lot of nothing. It doesn't look like a whole lot of nothing. There used to be a play structure back there. There used to be also a drop tower with kids back there. But they just kind of use this for nothing. There's not really anything that goes on back here. And I don't know what the plan is, if they're going to eventually move all this stuff and there'll be a new attraction going in. I'll get a closer look so you can see. You can actually see right there, that's where the drop tower is. Treetop Trails, that is the big old climbing structure that used to be back there. But again, I don't know what the plan is with that area. Hopefully a new attraction coming soon. There is the orangutan outpost, and that's where you can naturally see orangutans. And actually, you can see one of those orangutans up on the perch right there, which is kind of cool. Now, we are going to continue on. We're going to go past the orangutans. We're going to go into our next section, and one of our last sections we'll be walking through. This is Stanleyville, which has a few more of the attractions that you should do. You're going to have the Stanley Falls Flume, which is a log ride. And again, for the hot Florida summers, I would recommend checking it out. The Flume is a ride I've also not done, so I can't say how wet it gets you. But again, in the Florida heat, I'm sure it feels awesome. In this section, you also have Shikra, which is the park's B&M dive coaster. And then you have Tigers, which is a off-the-shelf premier ride Skyrocket 2. On the left here is the other Skyride station. So this is the Stanleyville station. And like I said earlier, the ride is a upcharge of $5. I will show you a little closer to that sign.
Take it.
Again, if you are an annual pass member or an annual pass holder, it is free of charge. But if you're not an annual pass holder, you will have to pay the $5 and go back. And once again, it is not a round trip. It is one way. So just like if we were over in the Cheetah Hunt area, if you wanted to come back to the section using the sky ride, you would have to basically exit the Cheetah Hunt station, go back around, wait for the sky ride over there, and then come back. And again, it is $5. So just something again to keep in mind if you want to use the sky ride. There is the flume, and let's pause because I think I can hear. There it goes. Nice. It does look a pretty decent splash, so maybe it does get you pretty decently wet. But again, I do not know, as I have actually not ridden the flume, so I can't say how wet it gets. And you just have some of these face paintings, these caricature stands around. So if that's something that interests you, this park does have a handful of those placed throughout the park. Here's another little snack stand. You get some popcorn, cotton candy, stuff like that. There's Tigress. And we once again have another split off. You can go left or right. If you were to go to the right, that would circle you around. That would bring you to the Tigress entrance. And if you kept going past Tigress, it would take you to the Zambia Smokehouse, which serves barbecue food such as St. Louis barbecue ribs, brisket, smoked chicken, and it is a very neat place to check out. The theater you saw in front of us, that is the Stanleyville Theater. See some more shows inside there. Doesn't look like they had any shows going on at the time of this video, so I don't know what show they were playing. On the left is going to be the entrance to the Stanley Falls Flume. Straight back is the Shikra locker location, and down that alleyway is going to be another set of bathrooms. So there's the lockers there, and there's that alleyway. Way down the alleyway again is another set of bathrooms. Way down there. And now we have the entrance to Shikra. Again, it's the big old B&M dive coaster. And if you're unfamiliar, it's one of those rides that basically holds you over the drop for a few seconds. And it's 200 feet tall. And we actually have about to go over the drop. So why don't we pause and check this ride out. All right. Wasn't that awesome?
That's good.
Let's keep going.
Continue on.
Now we will go to the left, and we're going to walk right underneath the Shikra, basically.
We just have this ride.
Shikra, I enjoy Shikra. It's a very great ride. Another ride that you must check out, and I would recommend hitting it early, as this ride can get a very long line, as the people, the public, do really enjoy these kind of rides. So I recommend hitting this ride early. And it has a unique finale. If you're familiar with rides like Griffin at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, or like rides like Diamondback at Kings Island that have the splashdowns at the end of the ride, this one has another. This is another one of those rides that have a splashdown, and it's going to be right here on the right. There's also a very neat area where you can get wet. If you're standing right next to the splashdown, you can very much get wet, and well, probably beats waiting in line for either Stanley Falls Flume or the Congo River Rapids. So that's something that would interest you. You could stand again right outside, right next to the splashdown zone, and you can get wet. I'm gonna pause for a moment here, and I want to show you the splashdown. And Baloo. Sweet. Awesome. Let's keep going.
Right. Wasn't that awesome? Let's keep going.
Coming up now, we will have again another split off. On the left, you'll have some stairs that take you out of Stanleyville. That is one way you can get out. And straight ahead will be a ramp. Again, for those who can't do the stairs, the ramp is straight ahead. If you were to go to the right, that would circle you. That would bring us to the Zambia Smokehouse, and would eventually take us back to where we were just a moment ago, past Tigris. So we're not going to go to the right. We're not going to go to the left. There is the stairs right there. Straight ahead there is another set of bathrooms. But we're going to go up the ramp here, so I can show you what that looks like. Basically just one winding pathway that goes up and around here. Again, for those who can't do the stairs, this is the ramp that can get you out of Stanleyville. If you're coming on a busy day, the park does offer Quick Queue, which is the skip the line access. It is a upcharge to on top of your daily ticket. Just keep in mind that as of now, rides like Iron Gwazi, as it is a newer attraction, does require you to have an exclusive Quick Queue. So the park does have 3 levels. You have the general Quick Queue, which is basically grants you one-time front line access at all the attractions except Iron Gwazi. Then you have Quick Queue Unlimited, which is the same thing as the general one, except it's unlimited amount of skip line access, again, except for Iron Gwazi. If you want to skip the line at Iron Gwazi, you do need the Quick Queue that specifically says Quick Queue Unlimited plus Iron Gwazi. If you do not have that plus Iron Gwazi on your Quick Queue, it will unfortunately not work. Other Quick Queues that work are the year-round Quick Queue, as well if you are a Platinum Annual Pass holder, and you get that one-time Skip the Line Pass. That Skip the Line Pass does work for Iron Gwazi as well. So I just want to touch on that Quick Queue subject as well. Just a little further back, you saw the stairs once again, if you did not take the ramp. And we're going to pass through this little tunnel, or more like a long tunnel. It's not very little. Nice shaded spot it could be, especially again in the hot summer of Florida. And this will basically take us into the bird garden area. Just this kind of random section. We'll have another interactive spots. This bird cage. You can pay extra to basically go into the bird cage, and you can feed them. They'll land on you. I have not done it. It does look pretty cool. The birds will land on you and you can feed them. They do seem to bite, so that's not something I would be very interested in. There's a look at the bird garden, the bird house.
And you can feed the birds.
We'll just continue down this pathway here. Busch Gardens Tampa throughout the year has plenty of events that they like to put on. At the time of this video, they have their food and wine festival going on. Basically during that time, you could try different food items from different parts of the country, and they also bring in small bands or bands you may have not heard before, and they play live concerts out in the festival field, which you'll see later on. So that's one thing that is awesome about this place, that seems every year there's just something always happening. That big play structure you just saw a little bit ago, that is the play structure to the Sesame Street area, which is the one and only kids section of the park. Basically, there's one big section devoted to the kids and the Sesame Street characters. So, for those with young ones, this is the area you'll take them to. They have a nice handful of attractions for the young kids, and I would imagine also their first roller coaster in this section, which is Eric Grover. Just a very family-friendly ride for kids. The entrance to this area is coming up here. It'll be on the left. There's a gift shop on the left that has some Sesame Street merchandise. And here's the entrance to the Sesame Street area. If you go straight back from the entrance here, that would take you to Eric Grover. So there's the Sesame Street area. Again, more caricatures and face paintings right there. Again, if something interests you, they have a handful of those throughout the park. Here's another one of those Dippin' Dot stands. And now this next section doesn't really have any rides or anything. They do have the kangaroo exhibit that they just refurbished. It's now called Kangaloom, which is an interesting name. But that's just something they recently did. This pathway on the left, this would circle us. This would be another way to get around. It would also take you to the tap room. So it'd be someone that is looking for more of an adult beverage, or someone who's into alcohol. You can go on that pathway there on the left, and that would take you to the tap room. I showed you those little souvenir things, those coin stuff. They have plenty of those throughout the park too. So if you want like an animal souvenir or something like that, they have plenty of those throughout. There's a flamingo habitat right there. Mentioning earlier that this park has a bunch of events, and right now they have the Food and Wine Festival going on. Some of their other highlight events are summer nights, Hollow Scream, and Christmas Town. During summer nights and Christmas Town, they will have fireworks on select nights. Do keep in mind that for the fireworks, you'll have some of the rides that will close. Those rides are Iron Gwazi, Shikra, and Falcon's Fury. Due to just the location of where they shoot off the fireworks, those rides do close off earlier due to the fireworks. Also just something to keep in mind if you do decide to come during one of those events. Here on the right is the kangaroo area I was talking about a bit earlier. You would just go straight back there, and just like with the bird garden, you can pay a little extra, and they'll hand you a bag of food, and you can feed the kangaroos. That's something I have done, and it is really cool. We are now entering this section, and you will see on the left there are some of the stands for the Food and Wine Festival. Again, the Food and Wine Festival is basically just a whole event devoted to trying out different foods from different parts of the country, or different parts of the world, I'm sorry. And yeah, that's really neat. Yes, YouTube. On the left is a stage where some live performances can be watched. There's the tap room, that building on the left there. There are some more food stands on the right. On the right, you have the excursions shop. They do sell some cupcakes in there, and some more Busch Gardens merchandise. The cupcakes I have not had, or it's been a while since I've had them, so I can't really say how good they are or which one to recommend, but you can get some cupcakes inside there. To the left of the excursions is another set of bathrooms, and on the left is the festival walkway. So if you wanted to see the live concerts, you would basically walk down this walkway, and the festival field, which is where you would watch the shows, is all the way down, basically just straight down. and you can see some of those shows that are coming through. So I filmed those on April 12th, and you can see April 13th they had Better Than Ezra, and then Hoobastank on Sunday. So that's just a little idea of what the Food and Wine Festival is like. And from there, we are entering what I like to call the Gwazi aisle. Everything basically here is themed to Gwazi, or named after Gwazi. You have Gwazi Climb right here, Gwazi Hoops, Gwazi Climb on the right, Gwazi Hoops on the left. And this is another, and up here on the left is another kids ride, Gwazi Gliders. Unique thing about this ride is that there is a black bar that the kids could move in and out, and the gliders can go up and down. They move the bar inward, it goes up. As they move it outward, it goes down. One thing to keep in mind that this ride is basically little kids only. You can see right there, it must be 56 inches or less to ride. So unfortunately, if you are someone who is 56 inches or higher, or over 56 inches, you will not be permitted to ride. If you're in that red, you will not be able to ride. So unfortunately, adults cannot ride on that ride with their kids, which is a little unfortunate, but it is a very tame ride. So, and the whole reason for this Gwazi aisle is this thing right here, which you saw in the beginning of the video. This is the park's new for 2022 roller coaster, Iron Gwazi, which is an exhilarating ride. And for those who are interested, this used to be the old Gwazi wooden roller coaster, which was a dueling wooden coaster by Great Coasters International, or GCI. They basically had Rocky Mountain Construction come in, combined both layouts into one, and it is now one massive project. Gwazi only stood about 100 feet tall, and now with Iron Gwazi it stands at 206 feet tall. So they basically doubled the height, and with a brand new lift structure, because the old lift hills of Gwazi could not accommodate what they wanted to do. So they bulldozed both lift hills to the ground, and they built their own. They had the steel truss system, and that's how they were able to accomplish that 206-foot height. 206 feet tall, 91-degree drops, 76 miles per hour, 4,000 feet of track. It is a must-do if you come to Busch Gardens, Tampa. If there's any ride that you must do at this park, it is Iron Gwazi. It will not leave you disappointed, I promise you. There's a little Gwazi dog stand that they just recently added. They are foot-long hot dogs, which are pretty good.
And when you see this building,
on the left is a really good photo op for Iron Gwazi. If you want to get a photo in front of the ride, you can do that. There is just gives you an idea of how large that ride is. With the steel truss lift hill, it really does feel like it's a lot taller than what it actually is. And there we go, it's going down the drop. Such a great ride. I highly recommend. Now, we are on the other side of Zagora. For those who are observant, we're now on the other side of Zagora. If you take that pathway on the left, that'll take you into Zagora, so another way to get into Zagora. And if you go straight ahead, it will take you onto the other side of Zagora, which is where we were at the start of this video. Which means that our walkthrough is coming to an end. On the right here, you have first aid. So if you have any medical emergencies, first aid is right here on the right. It's tucked back a little ways, but they do have this sign right here, first aid, pointing you to the right. On the right as well are these other set of lockers. So for those who have a bit of larger bags and can't fit them into the regular ride lockers, you can put them here. They are a bit more expensive, but you can leave your stuff here. Yeah, these are not the same as the ride lockers, so if you do get that transferable locker, like I mentioned earlier, these lockers here are not the same as that. So these are really just like you drop off your bag there and you can walk around the park. On the right here is Moroccan Delights. Serves ice cream and other goodies. There's some of the options they have. Now we are now coming up to the entrance again. There's an adventure photo like we saw at the beginning of this video. So I hope this video helped you guys out, and I hope that by the end of this video, or that by watching this video, you have a better understanding of where everything is. Eventually, I hope to do same videos for SeaWorld Orlando and Universal Orlando as well. I will try to do stuff for Disney, but unfortunately at this time I'm not a pass holder for Disney, so I do not know when any Disney videos will come, but you can expect at least a Universal and SeaWorld video coming soon. So, if you're in the Tampa area, please come down to Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay, and check this place out. It will not leave you disappointed. Thank you guys for watching, and please take care.
Take care.